Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning. Myself Muralidhara Reddy. I'm a DevOps consultant and solution architect. I have published Kubernetes Zero to Hero series on TechWall with Murali website. In this video, I'm going to discussing what are the topics covered in this particular Kubernetes Zero to Hero series. For that one, right, you can go to the Google and you can type it here, TechWall with Murali, and here we can see the TechWall with Murali website. Now you can click this one, and here I have published the multiple courses, and here we can see that Kubernetes course. Now we can click this one. Okay, and then here we can see that I have mentioned that different plans, 1 month plan, 6 months plan, and 1 year plan. And then you can come down, and here we have a course curriculum. And first I have mentioned that GitHub related link here. Either you can clone the repository or you can fork that particular repository, and then you can practice. And second thing is I have uploaded all the PPTs as well in this course. And also we have a Slack community channel. You can join there and you can ask any questions if you have. And then here you can directly reach out to the author. You can reach out to me directly via LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram also. Fine. And next one, right? Before going to discussing about Kubernetes, first you have to be understand the Kubernetes. Sorry, you have to understand the Docker. That's why I have uploaded the Docker as well, Docker fundamentals as well. And here we discussed about Docker. What is the Docker? What are the components available? How do we install? What is the Docker file? How do we write the Docker file? What is the Docker image? What are the commands is available in the Docker image? And also what is the Docker containers? Okay. And also storage, networking, Docker network, and volumes as well. Once you complete this one, right, you can easy to know how do we write your Docker file and how do we manage and how do we push the particular Docker image to the Docker Hub, either AWS, CC or whatever. Okay. Clear, right? Fine. And also I have mentioned that tools installation. Before going to discussing Kubernetes, first you have to be installed that a few of the tools. One is AWS CLI. You have to be connect to the EKS cluster. That's why. And also you have to be installed the Git either in the Linux or Windows. Why I'm showcasing two different operating system depends on in the real time, depends on use cases. You may need to work on either in the Linux server or either in your local system, that is Windows. Okay. And here we can see the Docker and also kubectl and Helm also I have showcased, and also EKCTL also we have installed. Okay, fine, super. Now once you've done this tools installation, right, you will get to know how do we install, how do we manage your tools. Okay, next one is AWS ECR also I have covered. Why I have covered this AWS ECR? I'm going to show you in this Kubernetes course. I'm going to show you the project. For the particular project, we have put the particular Docker image to the AWS ECR. That's why you should be aware of the AWS ECR topic as well. That's why I have covered here. What is the AWS ECR? How do we create the repository? How do we push the particular Docker image to AWS ECR? How do we set up the life cycle? Okay, everything. Next one. Here coming to the Kubernetes part. First, you have to be understand the what is Kubernetes, what are the advantages of using Kubernetes, where exactly will we use the Kubernetes. Okay, and also I have discussed about the Kubernetes architecture as well, master and slave nodes, what are the components available, which component, what it will do. Okay, everything. Fine. Once you've done this Kubernetes overview, right, you will get to know, okay, this Kubernetes will do this task. Okay, understand that? And then we created the AWS EKS. The reason, right, we are going to discussing in the AWS. That's why AWS we have a AWS EKS. In the Azure we have a AKS. Google Cloud we have a GKE. But majority of the projects are using that AWS. That's why they will be use the AWS EKS. And very rare projects they may managing the EKS cluster in their on-prem servers, but very rare cases. But you should be at least aware of the AWS EKS. That's why I have covered here AWS EKS. We are creating the EKS cluster in the Kubernetes cluster in the AWS. Okay, and here we discussed about what is EKS, how do we create that EKS cluster, how do we add the worker nodes, and also how do we connect our EKS cluster using AWS CLI. Okay, everything. Once you've done this one, right, you will get to know how do we create and how do we manage, how do we connect our cluster. If something happen, how do we troubleshoot? Everything will get to know. Okay, clear, super. And then very most important, Kubernetes basics. If you understand these basics, right, 50 to 60% you understand how do we read the Kubernetes YAML files. Okay, for that one, first you have to be understand Kubernetes objects. What are the objects available? Each object, what is the API version? Okay, and also how do we create the pod using imperative commands? How do we create the pod using declarative syntax? And what is the Kubernetes deployment file? What is the Kubernetes deployment? How do we write the Kubernetes deployment and how do we deploy it? Okay, sample application. Okay, once you complete this one, right, you will get to know what are the objects available. Each object, when you write that Kubernetes YAML file, right? What are the options available? Everything you will get to know. Okay, fine. And then next one is Kubernetes namespace. Usually, when you create the Kubernetes cluster, default, it will create the few default namespaces. But the thing is, in the real time example, you have a product, you have a project. Each project having multiple products. Example, service product and payment related gateway product, different products available. Then what we will do, right? We will be create the separate namespace for each and every product, and then we will be deploy applications on the specific namespace. That's why you should be aware of what is the Kubernetes namespace, what are the default namespaces available, and also how do we create and manage your Kubernetes namespace, how do we deploy our application on the specific namespace, everything. And also we do discuss about resource quota as well. You should be aware of the resource quota. The reason, right? The reason, if you want to be mentioned that a specific namespace level, this number of parts needs to be allowed. This number of CPU and memory only needs to be utilized. We can define everything in the resource quota only. Okay, how do we configure that resource quota? Everything. Once you've done this one, right, you will get to know how do we manage your Kubernetes namespace. Customize Kubernetes namespace. Okay, and the next one is Kubernetes service. Here we discussed about Kubernetes service. What is the Kubernetes service? What are the types of Kubernetes services available? We do have different services. One is cluster IP, node port, and load balancer. We discussed about three different ways and where exactly will we use it. Okay, and here we discussed about Kubernetes load balancer as well. Once you've done this one, we'll get to know how do we manage our Kubernetes service. Okay, clear. And then here, one of the major problem when you go with the load balancer, the reason, like let's take example, you have a 200 to 300 microservices available. Okay, the service type you mentioned the load balancer. It means 300 services, you have to create the 300 load balancers. If you create the 300 load balancer, it will be more expensive. That's why what we'll do, right? Usually we won't use the cluster IP service type is load balancer. That's why what we'll do, right? We'll be use the ingress controller. Either AWS ALB ingress controller or ingress control, Nginx ingress controller, whatever. But majority of the projects, if they are using AWS, they will be go with the AWS ALB ingress controller. So what we can do, right? There we will be write the ingress resource. There we can be define the rules. There we can add the multiple microservices. You don't require to create each and every microservice separate load balancer. Single load balancer we can add multiple. We can add the multiple rules. In the particular rules, we will be define that multiple services. Okay, that's why that is the one of the most. Remember one thing: if you are not aware ingress Kubernetes ingress controller, no one will hire you. Not only AWS ALB ingress controller, either AWS ALB ingress controller or Nginx ingress controller, whatever. Okay, clear, right? Fine. And then here we discuss what is the Kubernetes ingress controller, how do we install and configure that AWS ALB ingress controller, and how do we deploy sample ingress resource, and how do we deploy our ingress controller with SSL. It means how do we access your application using HTTPS. Okay, clear, right? Fine. Again, I'm repeating, if you are not aware this ingress controller, no one will hire you. Remember, guys, I'm repeating. Okay, clear. And the next one is external DNS. Why do we require external DNS? When you write the ingress resource, it will create the load balancer. But if you want to create a records in the Route 53 automatically, then what we will do, right? We'll be go with external DNS. Usually, currently, most trending part, majority of the projects also using the external DNS. The reason, once they deploy the ingress resource, they don't want to be create the records in the Route 53 manually. When you go with external DNS, it will automatically create the records in the Kubernetes, in the Route 53. Okay, clear. And then next one, Kubernetes config maps and secrets. This are also most important. The reason, usually developer writing the code and they have configured that application related configuration. Instead of configuring their right, what we can write, same configuration, application related properties file, everything, we can configure in the config maps. If anything related to sensitive data, example, database related username, password, everything, right, will be defined in the secrets. Okay, for that one, you should be aware of config maps and secret. How do we do? Where exactly will be configure everything. Okay, and the next one is daemon set. Daemon set, it is one of the most important when we deploy any logging and monitoring. Example, I'm telling guys. Then what we'll do, right? We'll be use the daemon set only. Why do we require to use daemon set? When you do that logging, when you do that monitoring, either Prometheus, Grafana, if you deployed in the Kubernetes, what you have to do, right? Each and every worker node, you have to be install the specific pod. Then what you have to do, you have to use the daemon set only. What daemon set will do, right? If you have a 10 worker nodes, 10 worker nodes, it will be run the, each worker node, it will run the one pod. If you delete the pod, if you delete the worker node, automatically delete the pod from the particular worker node only. If you add any new worker node, automatically create the new pod in the particular worker node. It means each and every worker nodes only we need to capture, right? Then what you can do, right? Will be go with Kubernetes daemon set. This is the one of the most important, guys. Okay, fine. And then here we can see that stateful set. Usually stateful set we won't use much, but the interview level very most important. Especially this particular stateful set will be used for DB related one. DB related one. Okay, but very rare cases will be used. But interview level they are asking how we will be use it, how exactly will be use it. That's why. Okay, fine. Now we can come down here. We can see the Kubernetes volumes. Kubernetes volumes are most important usually when if you want to be maintain the persistent data. Then what you'll do, right? We'll be go with the Kubernetes volumes. And here we have two types. One is static and dynamic provisioning. If you go with the static, right, you have to write the PVC. PV is nothing but persistence volume. PVC is nothing but persistence volume client. Okay. And also dynamic provisioning, you don't require to write the PV. Just you will be write that PVC and then will be defined whether you want to be create the EBS, whether you want to be create the EFS. Example, if you deploy that application on Kubernetes, if you deploy that Jenkins on Kubernetes, it means you have installed the Jenkins on Kubernetes. Then what you do, right? You need to maintain that Kubernetes Jenkins data persistent, right? Then we will be go with either EBS and EFS. For that one, we have to use the Kubernetes volumes only. Okay, fine. What is the next one? Metric server. Metric server, where exactly will be used? This metric server, when you install the metric server, right? We can check our CPU memory. Okay, our CPU memory of the particular pod and worker nodes. You can see it. Remember one more thing. If you want to be work HPA, okay, you should be install the metric server. If you are not install the metric server, it won't work HPA. HPA is nothing but horizontal pod autoscaling. Okay, horizontal pod autoscaling. Remember this HP also most important. The reason depends on traffic. If you want to create the worker node so if you want to create the pod automatically, then what you will do, right? Will be use this HPA. If you want to work this HPA, you should be install the metric server. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Now you can come down and here we saw that HPA part. Okay, now you can see the Kubernetes cluster autoscaler. If you want to be manage your worker nodes, depends on CPU and memory utilization, and also depends on the pod you have deployed the application. The pods are pending state. Then what you will do, right? When you use the cluster autoscaler, it is automatically increase the worker nodes. If you have less number of pods, automatically decrease the worker nodes. For that one, we will be use this one. Okay, clear. This is also one of the most important autoscaler. Fine. Now coming to the Kubernetes probes, this is related to application. There will be mentioned that when you deploy application on Kubernetes, will be mentioned that readiness and liveness probe and startup probes. Startup probes are very less, but usually will be used readiness probe and liveness probe. Here, most important thing you have to remember, if readiness probe or liveness probe doesn't satisfy, if not satisfy, your application, your pod will be showing the pending state, or it will be keep on restarting your pod. Okay, clear, right? That's why this is also one of the most important. We do always will be use the liveness and readiness probe will be defined in the deployment file. Okay, clear. Any questions now? Next thing is logging. Where exactly will be used logging? Let's take example. You have deployed our application on Kubernetes. Application will write the logs, right? Usually the logs will be stored in the worker node. If the work node delete, what will happen? Your logs will be lost. Then what we'll do, right? We'll be push the particular log to the either ELK, EFK, whatever. Okay. But in our case, we are using EFK, Elasticsearch, Fluentbit, Kibana. Okay. Usually, this particular logging will be installed as a daemon set. Okay. We will be installed as a daemon set, and then we'll be push the particular logs to the Kibana. If you see here, in our case, we are using AWS OpenSearch. OpenSearch is nothing but Elasticsearch only. Okay. Here we will be pushed. Here, most important thing you have to remember, currently, majority of the interviewers asking, how do you manage your application logs? Where exactly you are pushing the logs? Then you have to tell, we will be push the logs in the Kubernetes. Sorry, we'll be push the logs in the EFK, Elasticsearch, Plainbait, Kibana. Okay, next one, monitoring part as well. And how do we manage your CPM memory? Where exactly capturing, where exactly you are storing that CPM memory of your pods, worker nodes, whatever. Then what you will do, right? We are using the Prometheus and Grafana. Prometheus, it will be captured. Grafana, it will be visualized. This one also will be deploying as a daemon set. The reason, each and every worker node, you need to capture CPU and memory of either pods or worker nodes. Okay, clear, right? And also next one is, and again I'm repeating, this logging and monitoring is one of the most important. If you are not aware, if you are not explained properly in the interview level, very difficult to hide you. They will be reject you as well. Okay, fine. And then Kubernetes taints we won't use much the real day, but you should be aware of basic idea. The reason, interview level, they may ask question, what are the uses of taints and tolerations, node affinity, okay, affinity and node affinity, but very rare cases. Okay, fine. And then EKS upgrade, you should be aware the reason, how you guys are upgrading from one version to another version. What is the process? For that one, I have explained, prepared that particular EKS upgrade part, and also I have done that upgrade to EKS as well. Okay, this is also one of the most important. We can do different ways. One is AWS console. Someone they will do the cloud formation. Someone they will do the Terraform as well. Okay, fine. And also I have showcased that different various methods to create the EKS cluster. Earlier we created manual, right? We went to AWS console and we created, but here I have showcased that EKSCTL command to create the EKS cluster as well. And I have showcased the two different projects, and also I will be publish the Argo CD as well. And here we can see the deploy to EKS fetching image from Docker Hub. Our image is available in the Docker Hub. We need to deploy our application and we need to fetch that particular image from Docker Hub. For that one, I have showcased three different ways: manual process, freestyle job, Jenkins pipeline. Here I have taken the sample microservice application, that is user registration application. And here we can see the deploy to EKS fetching image from ECR. Here earlier we put that image from fetching image from Docker Hub, and also I have showcased that AWS ECR as well. Because the reason I have showcased two different ways. Some of the organizations they push that Docker image to the Docker Hub. Some of the organizations they push the Docker image to AWS ECR for that one. Okay, this one also I have showcased that three different ways: manual process, Jenkins freestyle job, Jenkins pipeline. Okay, and also I have uploaded the resume points. You can download these resume points and then you can declare. You can mention in your resume as well. And also I have mentioned that for reference purpose, I have mentioned that interview question and answers for reference purpose for both AWS EKS related one and also Kubernetes related one. And also I have uploaded the Kubernetes troubleshooting documentation as well. Okay, this is our entire Kubernetes 0 to hero. Once you complete this one, you can use it to manage in your organization as well. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions now? One thing, remember, if you are planning to enroll my course and learn from my videos, even if you are aware of the topics, please don't skip it. At least watch the fast forward. The reason I'm saying, each and every topic, I have mentioned that where exactly use in the real time. Okay, where we won't be use it, and how do we explain in the interview level. Everything I have covered. That's why you won't be miss it. Okay, clear, right? If you have any question, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram. Okay, thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next video.